Welcome back. You're watching the special edition of Young Turks. We're in conversation with Nigam of PhonePe on what the fintech landscape could look like in India in the next 5 years. Yeah, Samir, let's talk about the changes that have come in over the last few days as far as UPI is concerned. What will the revenue impact be on account of the changes that have come in, especially as far as wallet loading fees are concerned, where PhonePe, like others, will have to pay a bank about 0.15% of the amount if it's over 2,000 rupees to load the wallet. What will the impact of the changes that have been announced by the NPCI mean for a company like yours?
I think it's positive across the board. It's a long time coming. While there's a 0.15% wallet loading cost, we have a wallet business. There's a 1.1% guaranteed interchange that comes to us as a wallet issuer. So you're making money and you're making it through the UPI rails. Till now, historically, for the last decade, wallet companies have tied up with merchants directly and charged an MDR anywhere from 1.5% to 2.5%, I believe. We don't have as large a wallet business or play as some of our competitors, but we have launched full KYC wallets. We do want to foray further into it. And I think it's a positive sign that certain instruments, whether it's RuPay credit cards on UPI or wallets through UPI, the rails are aligned for monetization. And I think that's been a long time coming. I think it's a good sign for the industry overall.
You talked about the interchange, and you're right that it's been capped at 1.1%. What is the current interchange for you?
Right now, the wallet play doesn't involve an interchange because the issuer ties up with a shopkeeper and they pay them directly. So if you go today to a shop where you see a PhonePe or an Amazon Pay or a Paytm wallet accepted, that's a bilateral agreement. It doesn't flow through UPI. And there the interchange would, as I said, vary between 1 to 1.5%, 2% I've heard of at times. You've typically not gone past 1.5. And now the interchange is what we would get paid by the bank or whichever, how should I put this? If we have acquired a merchant and somebody else's wallet gets used, then we'll pay the 1.1%. But if we've got the wallet customer and they make a payment at the merchant, then we'll get paid 1.1%. And the acquirer will charge the merchant north of 1.1%. Again, my gut says this is normalized or standardized pretty soon across the industry. You land at about somewhere between 1.4 to 1.6%.
Right. And this is something that is contentious, and we don't know whether the government will go down that road or not. But there is an IIT Bombay report that's been put out suggesting that there be a flat facilitation fee of 0.3% to fund the infrastructure linked to UPI. Do you believe that is now going to have to be a reality that we need to contend with? As I said, no decision has been taken so far. We don't know whether the government will go down that road. But is that something that you believe we should be prepared for?
So I think it's inevitable, but my reasons for saying that are slightly different. I think there's a considerable amount of investment that's happening outside of the banking system. This is the fintech system, as we call it, both on the consumer side and the acquiring side. And for the last 20, 30 odd years, whether it's Visa, MasterCard, RuPay, whether it's net banking, somebody subsidizes that cost and incentivizes the players in the industry to make money. And it's traditionally been the merchant. So until zero MDR on UPI came along, the merchants were paying. The merchants continue to pay for Visa, MasterCard, they pay for all the wallet companies. Every other sector is also showing growth. So I'm still not convinced that merchants wouldn't pay a reasonable amount of interchange or MDR. So I'm hopeful it'll happen. I'm always hopeful. I think the government will perhaps relax MDR in waves. They haven't indicated anything, so this is just me conjecturing. But I think they'll relax in waves just to see, as they say, I mean, it's sort of a digitization tax, if you may, but broader shoulders bear the most tax. So maybe they'll start with the big merchants.
Well, I know you're hopeful, but Samir, hope is not a strategy. So let me also ask you about the other sword that's hanging on your head. And as of today, it's expected to come in from December 2024. It's been pushed to December 2024. The NPCI guidelines on capping market cap, which will impact companies like yours. And I know that you've said uncertainty doesn't really help plan, but you will now need to plan for December 2024. So what are you doing about that?
Well, again, my answer is no different than it was in December 2022. Short of denying consumers access to PhonePe's UPI services, which is the only direct way to reduce my market share, I can hope that more entrants jump on the bandwagon. I can hope that the existing players invest more to grow their own consumer base. I can stop advertising. It's been 2 years and counting. Beyond that, someone has to give me a playbook. So it's still the same response. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's not normal for an entrepreneur to sit there and think about how to actually reduce their growth. So you'll have to cut me some slack on this one. I don't have answers.
No, I feel your pain, by the way. I mean, it is an unfair ask of me to ask you how you plan to degrow your business, but that is what you're going to have to deal with unless there is some sort of miraculous change as far as this timeline is concerned, or a complete change of heart on the part of NPCI. But if that were not to be the case, what does that then do to all the targets that you've just spoken of, both in terms of growth and profitability?
I'm not worried about the profitability part because a lot of it is being fueled even by the current base. I think it takes us there. PIN code is a separate app. We're going to be foraying into the entire sort of wealth and stockbroking side of things. We have a license. We'll be entering there. That's going to be a new app. Lending scaling up really well for us on the merchant side to begin with. We'll enter consumer lending at some point. Insurance, I believe we're the fastest growing insurtech in the country right now on distribution. So I think we have a lot going for us. I'm not so worried on the profitability side alone. I am worried about the growth of the UPI market itself. If the top two players, as things stand, are told you can't add more users, that's the guideline. Because honestly, only about a fourth of India is using UPI. It's about 350 million people. And what's actually more unnatural than asking people to slow their growth is to try and shape the market when there's only about 25% market adoption. It's like trying to shape the final sort of players in the telecom industry before 4G even launched. So we'll see.
Time for us to head to another break, but don't go anywhere. We're right back with PhonePe's Samir Nigam to talk about the road to profitability, IPO and more.